Welcome to the #Attitude-Shield podcast, the true mental operating script rewriting program designed for those looking for a change from within. No more hype or sugar-coated promises. This is to-the-point guidance on how to change the way we think to grab the life we always wanted. Are you ready for the change? Now your host, David L. Parker.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to the next episode of #Attitude-Shield, the mind script rewriting program. I'm David L. Parker, and I'm glad you're here. And this whole week, the entire week, we started on Monday due to a request. We've been talking relationships. Now, why did I have to have a request to talk relationships? Well, that's pretty simple. It's not my favorite topic. Why? Because, even though we all understand that your message comes from your mess, I don't like exposing mine that much. I've come to grips with it. I'm comfortable in my skin with it. I understand it. I no longer am embarrassed by it, that's for sure. What good would that do? That would be silly. Be embarrassed by something I did 12, 14 years ago, plus another 20. That's just goofy. We talked about that. Becoming great with yourself makes you good in a relationship. This morning, my wife and I did our normal routine, and we took our shower. And I decided to change the routine a little bit. Instead of coming in the office at 5:30 and going to work to do the things I need to do. Because if you've been around the show for a minute, you realize that I'm trying to finish up a few more classes. As a matter of fact, I'm taking 12 semester hours here in the summertime, and I'm going to take 18 in the fall so that I can slide into my master's program next May. Again, neither here nor there, but what I usually do is I usually about 5:30 come in here, go to work. This morning, I decided just to sit in my wife's what we call closet room. We have a bedroom that's basically her closet, and to sit and chat with her. Because every now and then it's good just to spend a little time chat with your significant other, because communication, as we started to touch on the previous episode, is so important that it's monumental. But I've decided that I want to go in a different direction today before we get into communication. I'm going to talk more about communication next week. This is Friday, May 20-something. It's May 21st, okay? See, got to put on my glasses to read my notes. First, I want to go in a direction. There seems to be something going around the internet right now that just makes me sad. Sometime last week, or maybe early this week, at a Colorado Rockies game, somebody said something, and another guy just walked down the aisle and punched the dude and knocked him out. That's as far away from an attitude shield, an operating script that can take you to success as I can imagine. Think about it. This person over a sports team, over some comment made by somebody at a baseball game, literally had such a lack of mental acuity that he walked over there and knocked the other guy out. Talk about a reactive personality. Talk about the inability to think. Talk about the inability just to process information. But I don't blame that person. The reason I don't blame that person is because that's where society's taking us. They want every one of us just to react. They don't want us to respond. React. And the media and a lot of news and a lot of, I just redundant there, use fear. See, because people react in the craziest ways to fear. Fear is a factor that's incredible. Remember that movie, though, Joe Rogan? Love the Rogan Effect show. Anywho, called Fear Factor. People respond to fear with an energy that's immeasurable. You remember the movie Monsters, Inc., when they would go in and scare the kids to get the energy? And then they discovered later on in the movie that the laughter is a better energy. But when you have people that are going to be soliciting a response from other people. Fear is a much better way to go if you want them to react the way you want them. If you want them to be upset. For example, I live up here in South Dakota, and I'm not looking to debate any of the science for the pandemic. I look and see what I see, and my opinion is my opinion. Your opinion is your opinion. But South Dakota didn't do the masks, and South Dakota only shut down for a little while. And even though there's propaganda and hype about it, which is all bull, there was no higher here than anywhere else. So the state didn't run itself by fear. The people here in the hills didn't live in a life of fear. Some of the other states right now, unfortunately, I call them prison states. Now, am I saying the pandemic's not real? No, absolutely not. I'm not saying that whatsoever. Am I trying to imply that it's phony? No, not at all. I personally know people, in my own circles of life, that are gone because of COVID and COVID-related things. You know, when you get sick and you have challenges, you can pass. I mean, let's be realistic here. I am in no way, shape, or form trying to say that it's not real. It is real. And people, bless their hearts, have gone to the next life because of it. But it's how you live in that fear. It's how you live in that situation that's the most challenging, like being in combat for all the years that I've been in combat. Yeah, I was nervous. Yeah, there was times I was wired up. But I refused to live in fear, because fear steals everything. And when you're reactive, you're fearful. Now, where am I going with all this? Again, I'm not trying to offend anybody. God bless everybody who lost somebody. God bless everybody who knew somebody who got sick and dealt with this crazy flu, this crazy COVID-19. It's terrible. I wish it never had existed. And I hope we all come out as a better planet from it. I hope we realize that we're all equal across the planet, that these silly little boundaries on maps, while necessary to build economies and security for culture and society, doesn't mean really anything outside of governmental protections and governmental regulations. And that whether you're in India or Pakistan or America or Brazil, Canada, whatever country you want me to name, we're all human beings of the same species of people. There's only one race, the human race. And that's part of understanding hashtag Attitude Shield. That's part of rewriting your mind operating script, is understanding that every person is unique and important and part of what we're all trying to do. So we need to influence each other. Hey, if you're enjoying the show, do me a favor, buy me a cup of coffee. Sure could use a cup of coffee today. All you got to do is go down in the description of the video and click on the link. It's like $5. Buy me a cup of coffee. And hey, share this on your social media. I notice that some days we get a lot of shares, and other days we don't get so many shares. It's okay. Hey, don't forget, we're also on www.attitudeshield.com. And I'd like to thank the lady who supports me on keeping that up to date and building it for us. All the chapters are there, even with the YouTube channels now that we've added the YouTube channel to the podcast. So anyway, if you're liking the show, buy me a cup of coffee. I really appreciate that. We were talking about reaction. We're talking about fear. And that was taking me in what I want to talk to you about. You're in a relationship, and you're trying to figure out how to move forward, how to keep this thing strong, right? Well, let me give you a powerful insight. If you want a beautiful relationship, then you need to hang out with people in your life that are further along than you are in a beautiful relationship. I saw a picture the other day, a meme, if you will, the other day. It showed a guy and a lady, together on one side, and on the other side of the picture, another couple happy, and a guy in the middle with a beer cooler. The funny thing about that is what that picture said to me was the guy in the beer cooler is hanging out with people that are further along than he is, but the people hanging out with the guy in the beer cooler aren't. Now, most people would just see that as funny. Oh, look, he ain't got a girlfriend. He going to drink all the beer, right? And I guess in some way there's some humor there. But unfortunately, that humor is going to cost you in your mental mind operating script, because you're not applying what you're seeing. You're not looking at it and going, okay, here's the real message. Here's how this sits for me and where I should be looking at things. Here's how I should be responding because I don't want to react. So again, while the picture was sort of cute, the message that I took was the opposite of what other people took for sure. When you're trying to be stable and build an amazing relationship, like I said, you have to be with people that are farther along in life than you are. You have to hang out with people who have a bigger vision for their relationship than you do. We've talked about it before. If you want to be a millionaire, hang out with 5 of them and you'll be the 6th. If you want to be well read, hang out with 5 people who read all the time, you'll be the 6th. If you want to be influential over large groups of people, hang out with 5 people who are. If you want to understand something you don't understand right now, hang out with a few people that do. So if you want a bigger, better relationship, hang out with people who have one. Unfortunately, us human beings, we love to, the old analogy, misery loves company. So people, that are miserable hang out together. People who, have fights in their marriages and relationships, they hang out with people who have fights in their relationships, right? These things all seem to go together. It's just part of the human way we do things. We hang out together. Now, last summer, my wife and I went out on a 17-state cruise in our RV and spent the summer being loose and footloose and fancy free, if you will. The number one thing we did while being out there was to visit family and to visit friends and to hang out with people that we hadn't seen in a long time. Now, we get out to one of the states on the East Coast and we have 2 different experiences happen to us. One, we hang out with a guy who literally talked for 12 straight hours. Okay, 8. I have never seen anybody talk like this in my entire life. Talk. I mean, to the point that people even said, it's time for you to go. Because literally, talk for 8 straight hours. Obviously not hanging out at my house much. Ever. Then we hung out with a couple, and we consider them, I use the word friends very carefully, because friends mean you're in my inner circle. So close to my inner circle, very, very good people that we're friendly with. But spending a few days with them, my wife and I coined a new phrase, and we called it, let's see what we call it. We called it satisfactory unhappy. Yeah. Unhappily satisfied. Yep, unhappily satisfied is what we called it. And what did that mean? They complained and complained and complained and complained about their life. Beautiful house right on a lake. Yes, their kids have challenges like everybody's kids have challenges. But they literally complain. Beautiful cars, few motorcycles. I mean, living the American dream, if you will. Living the human dream, if you will. Bills are paid. Life is good. Life is challenging. But they were literally unhappily satisfied. My friend, the man who I spent time with in the military, literally complained about his life the whole time. This is the same kind of guy you call him up when he doesn't answer his phone. His voicemail's always full, but he doesn't know why people don't call him. You need to hang out with people that are going where you want to go. So obviously hanging out with them very often isn't something we're going to do because they're not going anywhere. How is my relationship supposed to get better? How is my relationship supposed to grow if I'm hanging out with somebody who's perfectly happy being a stick in the mud? Right? We've been talking for years for them about them coming out to visit us. Now we move to one of their favorite places in the world, and we got the same responses we've always had. Well, maybe. Well, they're not coming. The reason they're not coming is because they're completely unhappily satisfied. And that is the thing. Another thing, if you're a young couple, of whatever. You want to hang out with people that are more experienced than you. Some people in my inner circle have been married 35 years. And they have quite the age difference, but they've been married 35 years. And last night, when he was leaving the VFW and going home to grab a shower, in the middle of all the crowd, his wife walks over, gives him a kiss goodbye. And as he's leaving, she swats him on the butt. 35 years. They have more experience on how to deal with the other silliness, the craziness, the things that happen to you all the time, the unexpected, the we talked about it in a previous episode. When you get into an argument, you get into a confrontation, you're supposed to always make sure that your energy stays focused at the confrontation, at the act or lack of action, not at the person. It always destroys my brain when people who argue attack each other's character. Well, you're a piece of shit. Well, really? You told me yesterday or this morning or 20 minutes ago you love me, and today I'm a piece of shit? That doesn't make any damn sense. Why do people talk that way? So you need to hang out with people. You want to be married or in a significant relationship for 30 years, hang out with people who are. You also need to make sure that you hang out with people, we've talked about this, that are out of your league. They make more money than you. They've done more things than you. They're going places you can't go yet. They're doing things you can't imagine doing yet. Your relationship needs to be around those because, see, people who are going somewhere, people that have plans and targets and focus on things and they're going somewhere, they have like this energy behind them that pulls people along with them, see? You can either be in a group of people that pull you down or pulls people who pull you along. You can get pulled this way or you can get pulled this way. That's all there is to it. Pulled forward or pulled down in the middle. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but if you want to, you can actually get a bucket on the East Coast, especially the Northeast Coast, Maine, areas like that. And you can go crabbing right on the beach. And you can walk out and grab crabs and drop them in a bucket. Now, when you do this, you don't need a lid for the bucket. I know this sounds crazy. They'll just crawl right out of the bucket. Wrong. When you drop all these crabs in the bucket, well, sooner or later, you always have a full bucket, right? So you think the top one would just walk out. Nope. No crabs will escape. You can leave the bucket on the dock, on the beach, on the hood of your car for as long as you wanted to, full of crabs, and not one of them will escape. Why? Because the lower crabs down in the bucket, they're always grabbing on and pulling the other crabs down. They don't want them getting out. So you get this chain of crabs that have grabbed each other and they hold each other in this bucket. And that's what people are like. You have to make sure you're not around those people. To not be around those people, you got to have people that are moving forward. Never, ever, ever been outworked by a hater. And I got haters. I got people who not only hate me for the show, I got people who hate me because I exist. And that's okay, because I'm still going forward. I'm not staying in a bucket with those crabs. How do you spot a crab? Oh, they tell you how good they are. My house is the best house in this town. My car is the best car. My, me. Freaking crab. So, you want a great relationship? You got to hang out with people that are going somewhere. You got to hang out with people that are out of your league, because we all need to be exposed to new levels so that you can grow to new levels. We just talked about it. You want to be something, hang out with 5, you'll be the 6th. That's getting exposed. That's moving to a new level. I work with people all the time right now that are stuck in their situation, and they don't want to grow. They don't want to be exposed. They just like to stay where they want to stay, and they want to stay there because it's comfortable. Because even in your relationship, especially in your relationship, your growth is outside of your comfortability. You have to step outside your comfortable zone. You have to step outside to grow. And if your relationship doesn't grow, then you're just going to be one of the millions of people who gets a divorce every year because of some bullshit line called, well, I just fell out of love. If you fell out of love, that means you took no action to be in love, and you were never loyal in the first place, and you weren't exactly doing the right thing. Now, guess what? I'm not throwing stones because I fell out of love. I screwed it up in every way you could screw it up. I was an unfaithful person in a relationship. Guess what? Screwed it up. I wasn't always the most honest person. Matter of fact, at one time, I probably would tell a lie to get out of the truth because my operating script was garbage. Caca, doo-doo, no good. Then I started to realize that I was doing nothing but hurting myself and hurting other people, hurting people who didn't deserve to be hurt, hurting situations that didn't deserve to be hurt, putting negative energy into things that doesn't make any sense because I didn't have any people in my life that were further along than me or our relationship. I didn't know anybody with a bigger vision than me. If you got the biggest vision in the room, you're in the wrong damn room. I wasn't hanging out with people more experienced than me. I wasn't hanging out with people that weren't in my league. And I wasn't being exposed to new levels. So I was making up my own life. And sometimes I was making it up in more ways than just trying to figure out which way to go. You made it all the way to the end of the show. Good job. I find it funny about shows like this. The good stuff's always at the end, right? Because people like me, we get chatting. And then all of a sudden when we get to the end, we're like, woo, that's where the good stuff is. I got to write that down right now. Let's write that down. Good stuff at the end. This isn't the end of the hashtag Attitude Shield. No, it's far from it. This is just where we're going to start concluding our relationship week, right? Now we're going to start adding another show. We have Wednesday. We have the Wonderful Wisdom Wednesdays, and we're going to start adding Friendly Friday. Introduce you to an amazing human being out of Kansas named Brian Glenn and his awesome wife, Crystal. Brian's going to start joining me on the show here, and we're going to start recording and doing some stuff. He has been through some stuff. He has figured out his shit. He is definitely further along than some people. He has a big, big vision. He's got some great experiences, and he is out of other people's leagues. He is inviting people into the league, right? Because he loves to expose people to new levels, and he's always looking to be exposed himself. Now, that sounds bad. How about you expose me? All right. Sense of humor there. Be happy. Be happy. This is relationship week. The bottom line is you got to speak about your significant other as they're going to be, where they're going to be. You have to be honest, brutally honest. I love when people go, happy wife, happy life. Wrong answer. Happy spouse, happy house. It's a two-way street. You know, it's funny. I like to tease my wife because women, we're going to end on this little note. Women have got us trained to put down the toilet seat. Well, how come they can't put it up? Same, right? Right? Anywho. I love my amazing wife. She is my best friend. We talk about everything. We do so much together. We built businesses side by side. Hey, you want to know what? You want to know how strong a relationship is? Go build a restaurant with your wife side by side 96 hours a week and still like each other in the end, and you'll find out exactly where your relationship is, right? Remember, we all need people that are further along than we are. We all need people with a bigger vision, people with more experience, and people that are out of our league so that we can raise our league limit. You know what I'm saying? Got to get going, got to keep going, got to keep going. All right. I've enjoyed it. Talk to you soon. Next week, here we go again. We're going to have fun. Remember, you're never going to talk to anybody more than you talk to yourself. You have to learn what to say to upgrade that operating script, or you're going to stay right where you're at. You can read all the self-help books you want. They're going to help too. But if you don't have your operating script ready to implement the new software, there's just no upgrade possible. Take care.
You've been listening to Attitude Shield, your double dose of espresso for your attitude. Check us out on Facebook and on the web at www.attitudeshield.com. Again, thanks for spending this time with us. Between now and when we talk again, keep those shields up, eyes on the target, and always be moving towards your dreams.